Welcome to the Hangry Games Arena, where Kelly Brewster, the author of What's Eating You and host of the Hangry Games, is shaking up the weight loss world. She's providing you with tons of resources and helpful tips to obtain your long-term wellness and weight loss goals once and for all. The Hangry Games is recorded and produced at Open Space Studios.
Good morning, Hangry Game Nation. It is so great to be back in the studio with you guys. I took a little break, about a week, and I am working on some new content. We've got some amazing stuff happening at the office right now. And then, of course, I've been working on some new recipes as well. So I've got a lot to share with you, and I'm excited about that. Of course, you can tell I look a little bit different today. I'm not in my usual attire. I am working on, you guessed it, my triad of treatment. Remember that the three things that we work on are our eating and our exercise plan, as well as behavior change, and then the medication, small portion at the top of that triangle. And of course, you know what I'm doing. It's pickleball. Here's the thing. You need to be obsessed with your choice of exercise. Love what you do so you always want to do it. And you want to do more of it. And I can say unequivocally, I am hooked, peoples. I am hooked, okay? So I am prepared to play so that as soon as I can leave here, I will be heading over to the courts. So, of course, we couldn't go any further about talking about the big butts in our life. No, I'm not talking about the big butts that Sir Mix-a-Lot will talk about. I'm actually talking about, and I'm not talking about our rear side, I'm talking about those sneaky little excuses that leave us falling short of our wellness and our weight loss goals. Honestly, for that matter, any goals that we're trying to, establish and hopefully maintain in our lives. So I'm hoping that you were able to go through the takeaways from the last episode on what to do when excuses become your favorite pastime, that you may have been able to implement some strategies along the way to avoid maybe the pitfalls, if not most of the time, maybe even all of the time, right? All right, put my glasses on here so that we can kind of get the ball rolling. I don't know about you guys, but nothing works me over more and can get me more fired up than doing all of the right things or thinking that I am and getting nowhere really quick. Now, this is especially the case when it comes to weight loss. And I know you got to know what I'm saying here because this just really irks me. Even worse, what happens is you're sitting next to this person in the cubicle next to you, right? She's eating her little Snicker bites in between phone calls and doing stuff on her computer. She's losing weight. You're doing all the do's, all the don'ts, 1 pound, maybe 2. And you're like, okay, what the heck? Or maybe this one, maybe your spouse is sitting next to you eating a huge bowl of ice cream with all of the fixings and still having to jump around in the shower to get wet. Brian. Anyway, and all while you're trying to imagine that those carrot sticks that you're crunching and munching on taste the same as the ice cream that they're eating next to you, right? You know what actually is kind of funny is when I sent my initial transcript, or manuscript, I should say, into the publishing company, they got to review it and they look for anything that could be potentially inappropriate and da-da-da-da. And anyway, in part of the section when I was talking about my frustrations with weight loss, I mentioned that when my husband eats a cupcake, sometimes I just want to smack the cupcake out of his hand. Well, apparently that might have been a little too violent for my publisher. And I get it, but I didn't want to smack him. I just wanted to smack the cupcake out of his hand, right? I mean, what the heck? I really just did. I felt it. Without a doubt, I totally get it. What do you do when you're putting in all of the work and effort that you can muster up and you still feel like you're swimming against an impossible current? These are great questions, and we're going to talk about several reasons why this happens and maybe hopefully impart just a few tangible suggestions to help move the ship in the right direction. Biggest thing to keep in mind is that weight loss isn't just about exercise and the eating plan. There are so many other factors that play a huge role in weight loss. Things like age. Oh, can I give an amen in the house for that one, right? Gender, another amen, right? We and where you can actually start this weight loss journey. This is all something that can affect it, right? I can remember a time when I would just literally, if I wanted to lose a few pounds, I literally would just maybe not eat as many hot tamales. Maybe I would bump up my cardio in the gym a little bit, and boom, I was like 5 or maybe 10 pounds down. Yes, this was in high school, maybe college, but it is funny how we think that at the age of 50 something, I'm not going anywhere else there near that, but that we're going to see the same results doing the same things. And frankly, we're not. Let's face it. And this is just a little side note. Men as a whole are going to lose faster than women. Yes, it can feel like a cruel joke at times, but overall, a man can lose about, 10 pounds or so within a 2 to 3 month period, maybe even more than that, maybe 10% of their body weight at that point. And then women, it's just a smidgen longer, about 5 to 6, right? It feels like forever. So I think the biggest thing we need to keep in mind is weight loss is incredibly individualized. And so if you just pick some random diet, maybe the newest, trendiest thing, it may not be the best one for your body and your metabolism. So don't push all of your chips in until you know that the cards are stacked in your favor with this particular eating plan, okay? Now, someone recently asked me, Kelly, how do I know how much I need to lose in the first place? I mean, what do I do there? And I know that we went over the BMI scale, but there is a way to kind of figure this out very easily. But it's a great question nonetheless. The best way to gauge how much weight you can lose safely and healthily, I don't know if that's actually a word, but we're using it here, right? When you implement a diet and exercise is by calculating 10% of your current body weight. So let's just say for grins that you're 180 pounds, okay? 10% of your body weight is 18 pounds, which you should be able to lose with very safe, very health way. You should be able to get that down. Losing any more than that is actually where the challenge, it's not impossible, but that's actually where the challenge becomes a little bit more, it's a little bit more uncomfortable. You got to do a little bit more. You got to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more strategic in this particular area. So this is a kind of where we need to go back to the drawing board and just see if there's something maybe that we're doing that's actually not in alignment. And what we're going to do is we're going to take like 20, 25 of these reasons, and we're going to take into account why our weight loss is maybe suboptimal at best. And of course, maybe some suggestions for some of those reasons that we can maybe help things along the way. Okay. All right. So you are absolutely eating less, right? But still may not be making the most nutritious food choices. Okay. So you're eating less, calorie deficit. Yeah, but you may not be making the best choice when it goes to eating. This is what I equate it to. If you eat Twinkies, you're going to look like a Twinkie. If you eat less calories in the Twinkies, you're going to just look like a smaller Twinkie at some point anyway. Yes, we are, in fact, what we eat. If you are eating a calorie deficit plan like we talked about and not eating the right foods, you are just going to be a smaller version of yourself. So if you've got bingo arms, you got these flapping arms, and then you don't do anything different. You don't exercise, you don't implement any kind of cardio, you're not eating good foods, you're just getting a smaller version of that arm. In fact, if you see some skin, from losing some of that mass, then you may actually see a more significant arm. Okay. So yes, you can lose weight eating less to a certain point. However, you can't just keep cutting calories, right? I mean, at some point, it's going to actually work in the opposite way. You have to have a better focus on more quality, filling calories, such as fiber-rich foods, raw or al dente vegetables. This means vegetables that are kind of steamed or cooked, but they're not pale. Number one, they actually look like a green, and they're not gray. Okay, and they've got a little crunch still to them, and that's what al dente means. And that's when you get most of the nutrients, and you're still going to have the fiber really intact. Remember, we talked about this in the past. Processed sugary foods take very little time to process. You really just absorb them. So as the vegetables in some fruits and even whole grains, they actually make you fuller quicker and can really be an awesome weight loss tool. So you need to use the tools that are in your artillery, and that is one of them, okay? If we're going back to that old meal prepping we talked about in previous episodes, and maybe you started eating out more, this can allow you to maybe implement some more quality calories into that eating plan. The really cool thing about changing what you are eating is it naturally makes you eat less, helping you to move beyond that 10% weight loss that you may be hoovering around, So really, we are what we eat. So let's start eating some good things so we can see some good results, right? All right. So what about if you are overestimating your muscle weight? Yes. I'm sorry. Hold on. All right, come on. We've all probably done this, right? Oh, well, I'm working out a little bit more. I get on the scale and I'm like 1.5 pounds up, and you're like, but you're standing there, you're looking down, and you're like, but I did do more strength training this week, and I'm building more muscle mass. So womp womp womp. So, according to Dr. Weiner, the director of Bariatric Surgery Center at Tuscan Medical Center, muscle is similar in density to water. Now, fat has a higher density. So think higher density floats and lower density sinks, okay? So, but muscle has the same density as water. So the best way to kind of understand this is by using an example, right? So what he did was he said 1 pound of muscle is equivalent to the similar size, right? A size of a 16-ounce soda. Now that's pretty nice size, right? That's about like that. And if you added that to your body mass, right, would you see it? So if you're thinking that you gained 1.5 pounds, all right, and that's all muscle mass, you would likely be able to see that, some definition, some growth somewhere. I always tell my patients if they're doing a lot of exercising and they don't see a lot of scale movement, start taking measurements to make sure you're seeing the changes here. Because if you're not, then we need to shake some things up there, okay? Another great way to do that is to either change your exercise regimen that you're doing, or just adjust the calorie restriction. So it's either going to be, I'm going to go up on my exercise, down on my calorie restriction. I may do one, do the other, do both. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve. Okay. So this next reason is huge for so many of us. Honestly, I have a little story to tell you kind of about this. So about 6 months ago, 6 months out from getting the book initially published, I was having a little bit of chest pain. I know, right? And I was exercising, I was doing all those things, so but it was persistent. So it was enough that I made an appointment to get checked by the cardiologist. So of course it wound up being COVID. I think I might have given everybody in the office COVID, but if so, I'm sorry, guys. But I felt bad, about it. But I'm in there, and they're checking me in and everything, and the nurses said, okay, hop up on the scale. And so I'm hop up. I'm like, I know I'm exercising. I'm eating right. And I'm like, we're good. What the heck? Are you kidding me? I was flabbergasted. I was about 15 pounds heavier than I had been previously. And I went into like this big dissertation with the medical assistant. I went into a big old long thing. You need to get this scale calibrated. I mean, I got a book coming out soon. None of this can happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this isn't cool. And she probably was like, whatever, you're just probably eating too many ding dong. I'm always going to get the ding dong in there. And So I'm just sitting there. I'm in a blubbering daze as I'm just sitting there in the exam room waiting for the doctor to come in. But while I was sitting there, boom, like this. Kelly, are you asking yourself the same glass check questions that you tell your readers to ask themselves? No. You ask them to ask themselves those questions at least weekly. You're not doing that. Okay, fair. So what I did was I asked myself, right off the bat, I'm in the exam room. I'm like, okay, I'm eating the right foods. Heck yeah. Okay. I'm exercising 4 to 5 times a week. Can I get an amen in the house? Yes. Are you counting your calories? Crickets. Yeah. No, I was not. I wasn't counting calories. Sure enough, as soon as I started doing some daily calorie counting, it did not take long to realize I was eating far too many calories than I needed to be eating. Oftentimes, we underestimate our calorie intake and we always overestimate our exercise. Just keep that in mind. Tracking calories is a visible, tangible way to make yourself accountable and eliminate any bias or rationalization that we might have when it comes to keeping ourselves in check. Nobody's going to do that. They're not going to do it for you, okay? Now, I may help you out with it a little bit because you know how I am about it, but you have to be your best advocate. And sometimes that means glass checking yourself. Now, another potential issue which can absolutely cause some stagnation in our weight loss progress is not getting enough of the right proteins into our diet. Most people know about the traditional proteins, the meats, the fish, the poultry, the dairy, but there are great plant-based proteins that fill you up much quicker, ensuring that you're eating less food over time, which equates to further weight loss. A lot of times we were always told, don't eat the beans, don't eat the grains, don't eat, and we get all like gun shy about it, right? But there are great plant-based proteins that fill you up quicker, such as, so eating too many animal proteins, is that kind of bad? Well, it's sort of, many animal proteins we consume have more fat in them, right? So it can lead to some weight gain and maybe even some other health problems like diabetes. Okay, so that sounds good, Kelly, but what are some of the plant-based proteins that can contribute to your weight loss? All right. Legumes, which are small like beans that are very fibrous, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Now, you can eat more amounts of these foods without worrying about the negative effect on your health. Now, the other thing you have to worry about here too is, remember, a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. You still need to make sure that there's a deficit here, or you're going to be right back where you started from, right? That's why the Mediterranean diet, I think has been at least popular for a length of time, is because it does have some of these plant-based proteins in it. All right. Stop being myopic. What? What are you talking about? When we're on a wellness and weight loss journey, sometimes we can have the tendency to get frustrated because we have been on this journey for, let's say, maybe 3 months or so, and we're only down like 7 pounds. So we can maybe start freaking out, looking for a quick fix, a new fad diet, maybe those crazy gummies that are out there, anything and everything to move the train forward. Just stop for a moment. Just stop. It's okay. What was your initial goal to begin with? What was your initial time frame? Was it realistic? This fits into the prep steps under perception and rationalization. We really need to be really cognizant of what our overall goal is and paint the barn door until the paint sticks. If you keep doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to lose weight if you do what you're supposed to do. Remember, this is your pace, your race, and weight loss that happens right this second is likely going to return right this second. I always tell my patients, if you're driving from here to Florida and Mississippi, you decide to turn around, where are you? You're just still in Mississippi. You might be a few miles away from where you originally started, but it is going to take time to get back to where you want to be. The decision doesn't cause the change, your actions do. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to repeat this for sake of brevity because I think this particular statement is so very important. The decision you make doesn't cause the change. Your actions do. And I want you to just sit and marinate on that one for just a second, okay? So when I do follow-ups with my weight loss patients in the office, I always pull up. We have a section in the chart, and it's a vital section. So, but when you pull it over, you get to see the trend of weight loss, the BMI, their height, blah, 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 their blood pressure, all that kind of stuff. But it trends across time, which I absolutely love because I do believe this is such a tremendous motivator. It really is because they can come in and they're frustrated. First of all, my scale is a little bit different from theirs. So they get all freaked out about that. And then they get upset. But, sometimes they're coming in their appointments at 3:00 in the afternoon. I mean, come on, we talked about this already. You can weigh differently in the morning, have a cup of coffee, go to the bathroom, and you're heavier. So by the time you get to 3:00, yeah, your weight looks different, right? And so when they come in and they are so aggravated and frustrated because they don't see the weight that they wanted to see, I always pull up that tracker. I always pull up that timeline because I want them to know where they came from. It is such a tremendous motivator. If that's something you need to do it at home. Track it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Weight Watchers and MyFitnessPal, they have a way to actually show you that as well. It's not also about the number on the machine either. It's also about how you feel during the journey as well. Now, another culprit is not eating enough really good whole foods. So many are trying diets that are focused on one food group, keto, okay, or not eating for a length of time, intermittent fasting, which is fine if you still maintain a focus on eating good whole foods as well. Now, many nutritional experts have touted that eating plans full of whole fruits, vegetables, grains, and protein are associated with better weight loss results. Now, I'm not picking on anyone here or any products, but one of the things that a lot of patients will see and a lot of people will use is Optavia, and it's great. It's full of nutrients, and for many, many individuals, they see really, really great results. I actually did as well. I did that for a short period of time. But if you are doing a lot of processed, prepackaged meals and you're not retraining your brain on what to choose when you get to the lean and greens, you're going to find yourself on the losing end of weight gain when you're done with the program. So that lean and green part of their program is very important, and you've got to implement some of those things in. Otherwise, again, you're walking the dog. It's just a yo-yo. It goes down, it walks, and you pop it right back up. Protein bars, cauliflower chips, yada, yada, yada. They're great. They're fine. But I would much prefer you to outsource your protein in a fashion such as maybe tuna packs or a spicy cauliflower salad with edamame. Make your body work for it, and you're going to be thankful for those little bitty choices that you make along the way. Now, there was a study in Cell Metabolism in 2019 that looked at participants who ate diets similar in nutrients, okay? Same nutrients, similar protein, similar fat and sugar and fiber, one sourcing it from prepackaged and one from whole sources, and the group consuming the processed foods showed higher levels of caloric intake and sluggish weight loss than those that focused on whole foods. So there is some legitimacy to this, okay? So just keep that in mind. I've got several applicable applications or suggestions here for you. Hard-boiled eggs for the week. Just prep them ahead of time. Peel them if you need to. I don't really care. Just have them ready. Cut up a watermelon and portion it out. So there you've got breakfast for several days. I know that's prepping. I know that we talked about it, but it's whole foods, right? Frozen vegetables are great in a pinch. You can add them to soups. You can even add them to an omelet, like spinach and omelet or a soup like that. And another really great way to incorporate these whole foods and these green foods is mixed green salads are amazing. I very often, no matter what I'm fixing, I will actually have a green salad or mixed green salad that will go with whatever we're eating, because I'm trying to encourage myself, hey, get it in. You got to get it in, right? I even added to my salad. Excuse me, my sandwich. So if I do like one of the thin rounds and then I do some, like a little pepperoni slices and then I do maybe some turkey and some low fat cheese, I'll add like arugula with a little bit of like truffle spray on it. Ooh, it is so yummy. And then I'll do that. And that just gets that little bit of extra green whole food into the mix. Start with one serving. Just start somewhere, and then add another serving. Get to 2 servings a day, and then just add a little bit more over time. So you are overeating healthy foods, are you? Huh? Are you? Well, what that can't possibly be, right? How can you overeat healthy foods, Kelly? That doesn't even make any sense. Yep. Sometimes too many good things is not always a good thing, right? And we talked about this a little bit earlier with the dreaded cardiology visit, so I'm not going to bore you with that story again, but always remember to see true weight loss. There's got to be fewer calories in and more calories out to just truly see that weight loss. Changing out ice cream, for instance, during the night with frozen yogurt and fresh berries is great. I love that idea, okay? But here's the kicker. But you can't eat twice as much and you can't do it every day. I know, right? Okay. I would say the only exception here, and I mean the only exception here, is fresh vegetables and fruits. And I'm not talking bananas, people. I'm not talking grapes. Those are very high in glycemic index. I'm talking berries. I'm talking things like that, green apples, things that don't have a very high glycemic index. You know what? Have at it a little bit because all that fiber, it's going to fill you up pretty darn quick. Broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, celery, zucchini, squash. I could go on and on and on and on. Those are the things. I don't care how much you have of that. I really don't. In fact, I probably would sit here and challenge you that if you did that, it would help you to fill up quicker. You're going to eat less. And I think you're going to be hitting some of those weight goals that you were looking for a whole lot easier. So one of the next factors that can play a very pivotal role in the rate at which the pounds are coming off is that maybe the cardio that you are currently doing isn't enough. You're like, Kelly, that can't be. I feel like I'm doing it all the time. Believe it or not, this is a huge factor that many individuals fail to understand. Now, we're going to have a whole podcast in the future just on exercise. But for the sake of what we're discussing today, we need to talk about quantity versus quality again, okay? Intensity versus duration is huge. This is actually a game changer for many individuals struggling in this area. This is why HIIT workouts, this is high intensity interval training became such a tremendous trend and still is for many individuals. Because, a lot of people, we grew up, I grew up, we had aerobic classes. Oh yeah, I know. We had those the leg warmers and oh yeah, yes. But anyway, we would have these 60-minute classes. They were a full 60 minutes, but it was this high steady state that you did for a certain period of time. And then you had to warm up and then you had to cool down. And the theory is changing a little bit. So basically what they're looking at now is these quicker, shorter bursts of cardio with short rest periods to follow allows the body to actually default at a higher metabolic rate, which means winner, chicken dinner for you. You know what I'm saying? Let's take the most common exercise for many individuals, and we're going to kind of break this down, okay? So walking is a great place to start. But your body quickly acclimates to this exercise. And to truly see the shedding of body weight beyond the 10%, you would need to walk 10 to 12 miles a day to really get beyond that, okay? Now, you can maintain. Once you reach your goal, you can absolutely maintain with a walking regimen, but pushing the needle down on the old scale is going to come with a cardio cost, okay? Change this up a little bit, maybe doing interval walking with or a hiking session with an incline on a treadmill with varied degrees of speed, and the incline on it can definitely bank dividends into your metabolic rate. maybe getting into like a boot camp or a bike cycling sessions, that can work too. I'm just not a fan of the biking. I wouldn't mind boot camps. I think boot camps could be fun. Changing things up a lot does make a difference. There are a couple of great apps that I'm going to give some shout outs to. There's an app called Fit On. It's very inexpensive. And they've got so many different exercises that can vary from like 11 minutes to 15 minutes to 20 minutes to 35 minutes. Another one is Center, CENTR. It is by Chris Hemmingsworth. He owns the company. No, ladies, he does not work out with you. I know it's unfortunate, but that is not happening. But both of these apps are really great. They have really good HIIT workouts that are in there. And like I said, it can last between 12 and 40 minutes. Some of them even more than that. But they vary in exercises, activities. There's focused training. It's definitely worth the investment. Can you please pass me the soda? No. Though, first of all, never going to pass you a soda, okay? For that matter, let's talk sweet teas, lemonades, fruity drinks, all of those sweet little liquids that do absolutely nothing for you, okay? I'm going to blow your mind on this one. Just one soda a day is going to impede your ability to get beyond a 10% body weight. All I can say here is not only does your body easily absorb and store consumed sugar, but when you drink it, the chances are you're going to absorb it so quick that you're going to go back for seconds quicker than you can blink, okay? It does not curb your appetite, shouldn't take the place of any foods, and honestly, the best place for sodas, it's on the shelf. I'm sorry. I don't care about them or cleaning battery acids. I don't, I'm talking about the sweet tea too, people. I'm telling you. You're definitely going to see some major changes if you can get rid of those things. I cannot believe that I'm going to say this next statement. Drinking sodas, it's worse than eating ding dongs. Said it. You knew I was going there. Come on, right? I will tell you some things that I love is go to some flavored sparkling water. I have some really great ones. I like the Bublé's. You can do water. You could do lemon in your water, cucumber, mint leaves. There's so many different types of mint now. There's chocolate mint. There's lemon mint. Be creative. And believe it or not, the lemon and the cucumber actually act like a little bit of a diuretic. So it can take care of some of that water retention that you could be experiencing as well. The other thing here is always, always, always read the label, okay? There is hidden sugar everywhere. The worst thing you could do is put in the time, a 30-minute HIIT workout, only to drink a Gatorade out of the door. Just negated all of that hard work you just put into the exercise. You just drank all of it back, okay? So here's what you want to say. No. Just keep saying no and keep walking away, okay? Sleeping. Let's talk sleeping. It corrects a world of hurt. It really, really does. The only time your body has time to recoup or restore, reboot for that matter, is when your body is asleep and at rest. Now, a 2019 study in the International Journal of Obesity studied weight loss over the course of 12 months in almost 2,000 participants, and the most significant variable in seeing successful weight loss was consistent sleep patterns of at least 7 to 8 hours a night. In fact, those working the night shifts having a little bit of a disadvantage because it did negatively affect their circadian rhythm. So the best way to address this is to set a timer. I know that sounds stupid and corny, but set a timer on your phone to prepare you to transition into sleep. What? So many of us, we get home from work and activities, and we just don't want to feel like we're coming home. We eat, we sleep, go back, work, come home, eat, sleep, go back. So what do we do? We will either, read or we'll watch television, whatever. And then you find yourself getting in bed much later than you were anticipating, and it does affect your recovery time. Now, another big issue that can detain further weight loss is working a sedentary or worse, a desk job. It promotes a lower metabolic rate. It creates a pattern of almost passive sedation. and it increases the risk of boredom that can actually lead to emotional eating. A body in movement is a body burning, okay? Now, I'm not a fan of the Fitbits. I'm really not. But I do like when a patient comes in and tells me, hey, I got my 10,000 steps in. I think that's great. That means at the very least, they're doing something. Don't be this person. Wake up, you sit around before work, you head to work, you sit at the desk all day, you come home, you sit in front of the TV, you go to bed, you do it all over again. That is not a good pattern to get into. This is where I really push do something every hour on the hour for 1 minute. Squats, wall push-ups, take the stairs. I don't care. I really don't care. Do something. There are some really cool workouts, workarounds now that are really awesome. There's some cardio machines that actually fit under the desk. I think there's like some even little treadmills. There's some ellipticals that you can put. I actually convinced my boss to get a set of 10 dumbbells, 8-pound dumbbells and 5-pound dumbbells, and they're in the office upstairs. And I will often do a few sets of arms or even squats before the morning clinic or afternoon clinic, even before maybe starting my day. I have them conveniently right there by my door in my office, so it is a quick go-to, and it really does remove any chances for excuses. So here's what we're going to do. I've always got a twist, right? We're going to stop right here. No, I am not done yet, but this is such a huge topic that I am going to do a part Dewey, okay? A second part here, and I'm going to leave you with a few little cliffhangers. Our next episode, we're going to be talking about alcohol, medical conditions that can definitely interfere with weight loss, of course, the age, which we talked a little bit about before, stress, medicine. We got a lot still to cover, folks. Now, our takeaways, we are always going to be going over our takeaways, right? They're a must. What I want you to know, we've covered enough today that you can really go through these things and find, is there something that spoke to you today? Is there something that is in fact a barrier for you that I thought I was doing that, but I really wasn't? And try to see if you can utilize those prep steps to maybe correct some of those things. Don't forget, make sure to change to all these little things, shore up something small. And remember, those small changes over time make a big difference. Now, don't forget, check out prepfor.com, get our latest and greatest news updates, recipes, etc., where we're going to be doing future book signings and all that kind of stuff, just kind of to stay in the loop. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can get notifications of the new episode drops. And always remember, people, Leia the flavor, okay? Have a great one, and I'm going to see you in just a second. All right, I'll talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye.